What if I told you the empire that paved the world with stone was born from fratricide and ended when a boy named Romulus signed himself out of history? Rome's arc was thunder and echo, rise by iron, fall by fissures, and one last quiet signature. A shepherd's tale hardened into a city's oath. Romulus draws a furrow, Remus leaps it. Blood decides. Beside the Tiber, a league of huts becomes a covenant of steel. The seven hills watch as wolves turn to legions, hunger to law, myth to marching orders. Etruscan kings crown the swampy valley with drains and stones. Cloaca Maxima carves a forum from mud. Augurs read skies. Warbands learn ranks. Rome absorbs more than it invents, a genius of borrowing sharpened by necessity, and sharpened further by pride. A king's outrage sparks a republic. Lucius Junius Brutus swears, no more tyrants. 2 consuls, 1 year, shared fear of ambition. The wager is radical. Bind power by time, bind men by oaths, and trust virtue to steady the sword. Patricians guard privilege. Plebeians withdraw to a hill and refuse to fight. Out of stalemate come tribunes, sacred from harm, voices of the many. The 12 tables hammer law into bronze, rough but visible. Rome learns to argue instead of only obey.
Steel becomes system, the manipular legion, flexible blocks able to bend without breaking, meets mountain tribes in brutal chess. The Samnite Wars teach Rome to move like terrain itself, and roads like the Appian stitch conquest to supply and speed. Pyrrhus lands with elephants and glory. He wins, yet bleeds. Another such victory, and I am undone. Rome learns it can outlast kings who live for brilliance, but not for balance. Italy is netted, not by brilliance, but by grind and oath and mile marker. To sea, awkwardly, Corvus boarding bridges turn land soldiers into sailors. The First Punic War slams triremes like cities. Sicily becomes province, and Rome learns the taste of distant grain and permanent garrisons. Empire hinted in salt spray. Hannibal descends from White Alps like a storm unchained. Trebia, Trasimene, then Cannae, where wind and sand carry 100,000 breaths away. Fabius teaches delay. Rome refuses surrender. A city learns to win by not being beaten today. Scipio takes war to Africa. At Zama, Roman cavalry learns to pivot like thought, and Hannibal bows to a future he cannot bend. Carthage bows but remembers. Rome wins the sea and the center. More than victory, a habit of inevitability. Eastward, legions thread marble valleys. Macedonia broken, Corinth ash, Asia tribute. Greek art flows into Roman homes, and with it, appetites, silks, ideas, tutors, gods. Wealth arrives fast, equality leaves faster. A republic of farmers meets empire's mirror.
2 brothers try to mend the fracture. Tiberius and Gaius Gracchus press land back to soldiers whose spears won it. Clubs answer arguments. Blood stains the rostra. The social contract frays. Reform becomes a battlefield without rules. Marius opens ranks to the poor. Soldiers swear to generals, not the state. Sulla marches on his own city. Prescription lists nail fear to every doorway. Rome wins abroad, loses within. Victories mint instability like coins clipped to nothing. Spartacus breaks his chains and becomes a mirror. The Republic sees itself in a slave's defiance, then answers with crucified miles along the Appian Way. Crassus claims order. Pompey claims the headlines. Unity becomes a rumor money can buy. 3 men divide a world not yet theirs. Caesar needs glory. Pompey, prestige. Crassus, wealth, safety. Gaul burns into Roman memory. Bridges in 10 days. Rivers tamed. Vercingetorix encircled. The Republic grows taller and thinner at the base. The Rubicon is a nerve snapping. The die is cast. Civil war flashes across marble and sand. At Pharsalus, Pompey's legions fold. In Egypt, knives greet him. Caesar meets Cleopatra as power finds theater and inheritance braids with ambition. Dictator for life, he edits time, Julian months, leap days, then meets knives under Pompey's statue. The Ides of March rip the veil. Senators save the Republic by murdering the Republic's most popular man. Liberty and order stare, unblinking.
Octavian, Antony, Lepidus, another trinity forged in necessity. Prescriptions grind, Cicero's tongue silenced. At Philippi, Caesar's killers fall, but alliance decays into appetite. Rome's fate rides with a general in love and a youth learning ruthlessness. Actium decides by wind and nerve. Octavian's disciplined line cuts Antony and Cleopatra from hope. Oars splinter, sails burn, Egypt turns inward. The Mediterranean answers its new master with a hush. A republic ends by refusing to say the word emperor. Augustus wears monarchy like a mask called princeps. He trims legions, paves provinces with law, seeds cities, builds guardrails of ritual. Pax Romana is not peace of hearts, but peace of outcomes. Roads honest, taxes regular, borders watched by weathered eyes. Tiberius broods, Caligula startles, Claudius adds Britain. Nero watches Rome burn, later rebuilds in stone and rumor. The Julio-Claudians test the costume Augustus tailored. On the Palatine, palaces swell. In streets, whispers keep score like ledgers. A year of 4 emperors, Galba, Otho, Vitellius, ends with Vespasian's gravel steadiness. The Flavians raise the Colosseum from Nero's pleasure lake. Titus seals Jerusalem's fate. Spectacle becomes policy. Bread, circuses, and an arena shaped like Circe. Under Nerva and Trajan, competence hardens into grandeur. Dacia's gold funds arches and baths. At the Euphrates, eagles taste edges of the map. The empire stands largest and thinnest, like a bow strung to music and to breaking. Hadrian turns from reach to grip, walls in Britain, passports of empire stamped by stones. He travels, inspects, standardizes. The machine learns to maintain itself, yet feels the creak of time. Axles oiled, but roads running to storms. The Antonine Plague steals veterans and children silently. Marcus writes about virtue as the frontiers test it. Marcomanni press, winters bite, and Commodus inherits an empire tired of excellence. A golden age learns rust has a patient clock. The Severans buy loyalty and sell tomorrow. Caracalla makes citizens of millions, and coins lose silver to promise. Barracks choose emperors, provinces choose sides. The map blurs at the edges, and then at the center. A crisis is declared, then becomes routine. Aurelian rides like a suture. Palmyra humbled, Gaul reclaimed. Walls gird Rome in hurried stone. Restore of the world they hail, proof that a strong hand can mend, but also that the fabric tears easily and often beneath it. Diocletian rethreads the loom. Tetrarchy, taxes counted like heartbeats, prices fixed by decree. Order clamps down, persecution flares. The state survives by hardening, citizens adapt by shrinking. Survival is purchased at the counter of freedom. Constantine gambles at a river of omens, a sign in the sky, a victory on the bridge. Toleration becomes policy. Gold solidus nails value to trust. On the Bosporus, a new Rome rises, eyes eastward, back to old storms gathering in the west.
Theodosius binds empire and creed, then leaves sons 2 halves that no seam confuse again. Goths settle as allies and as a warning. Power divides, responsibilities multiply. The stage is set, an east that endures, a west that erodes by bargain and neglect. Alaric's Goths breach Rome. The eternal city wails, yet lives. Emptier, sobered, unmoored. Shock travels faster than any legion. The idea of Rome starts to migrate, from walls to memory, from Senate stones to bishop libraries. Africa, Rome's breadbasket, falls to the Vandals. Gaiseric's ships cut the empire at the stomach. In 455, they sack Rome with cold efficiency. Generals kill emperors. Emperors hire enemies. Aetius, last of the Romans, dies by his emperor's hand. A boy named for the city, Romulus Augustulus, hands the diadem to Odoacer. The Senate sends imperial regalia east. No thunderclap, just a file closed. The West becomes kingdoms in Roman rooms, writing in Latin, sitting on Roman chairs. Rome does not die, it molts. In the East, emperors codify Justinian's laws. Domes climb sky. Greek speaks Latin's duties. Roads become Europe's veins. Romance tongues wake from vulgar Latin sleep. Question remains, do empires fall, or only change clothes?